1998, New Scientist magazine reported that the total incidence of food poisoning is 7 times as high as 15 years ago. It is a fact that food poisoning is on the increase. One major reason is that there's a more diverse range of bacteria now than ever before. The effect of globalisation has meant a greater movement of food and people around the world. With this increased traffic has come a greater spread of microscopic life forms that are highly adaptable to new environments. As a result, there's an ever-increasing range of bacteria, viruses and parasites. For individuals preparing food at home, the results of letting food poisoned with these microbes are bad enough. But for those in the food service industry, food poisoning can affect large numbers of people. It can also mean the complete shutdown of a business. So what are the most common microorganisms that cause problems? We can divide microorganisms into 4 general categories: viruses, molds, yeasts, and bacteria. Viruses, which cause diseases like hepatitis A and E and gastroenteritis, do not multiply in food. Instead, viruses use food as a very convenient way to move from outside the body to other places. When a sick person coughs or sneezes, they spread viral particles into the air, which potentially infect other people directly or via food or surfaces. It only takes a small droplet to spread a virus. Yeasts are not usually associated with food poisoning, only food spoilage. They can cause off smells and sometimes make food bubble or slime. Some yeasts are useful, such as the ones used to make bread and brew beer, but others are to be avoided. Molds can cause the most obvious types of food spoilage. The furry growths on cheeses, jams and fruits are common molds. Molds are not usually harmful themselves, but some can produce cancerous toxins. The mold attracted to peanuts is the most well known as a health risk for this reason. Some molds are, in fact, edible, such as the ones found in blue vein cheese. Of all microorganisms, bacteria can cause the most trouble when it comes to food poisoning for a few simple reasons. They seldom produce effects that we can see or smell. And they multiply rapidly in food when it's left in the right conditions. Salmonella, golden staph, Clostridium perfringens, Bacillus cereus, Listeria monocytogenes. These are pathogenic or disease-causing bacteria. The most noticeable effects are nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, and fever, which can occur after eating affected food, anything from a few hours to a few days, depending on the bacteria. Some have long-lasting effects, and if untreated, some result in death. Bacteria needs 4 conditions to grow: food, temperature, time, and moisture. Let's look at each of these in turn. Food, or nutrients, for bacteria are any foods high in protein. Meat, seafood, dairy products, and eggs are considered high risk for this reason. Temperature is an important factor in the growth of bacteria. Any temperature between 5 and 60 degrees Celsius allows bacteria to multiply. We call this the temperature danger zone. A freezer operating at a temperature less than minus 18 degrees Celsius doesn't kill bacteria, but it does buy time. Bacteria lie dormant for as long as it's frozen. A fridge running at anywhere from 0 to 4 degrees slows the growth down to a point where food can be safely stored for several days without spoiling, in the majority of cases. The only thing that kills the majority of bacteria is cooking at a temperature of 75 degrees Celsius or more. 60 degrees is considered a safe hot holding temperature. Bacteria also need time, but surprisingly little. In the danger zone, bacteria can multiply at phenomenal rates. Each cell divides to form 2 cells every 20 minutes or so. That means that if you start with just 10 cells, there will be over 4,000 in a matter of hours. So the key is to keep food out of the danger zone as much as possible. Moisture is the other basic condition that bacteria need to multiply. Bacteria might exist as spores in foods like flour or custard powder, but it does not grow without moisture. Foods like cooked rice and pasta, however, provide an excellent environment and should be treated as high risk, just like meat and dairy products. All food will eventually spoil. Knowing a bit about the microscopic nasties can help us avoid any danger before it becomes a problem to our health. The greatest enemy for all food handlers is the microorganisms that cause food poisoning. Food poisoning is on the increase largely through the effects of globalization. There are 4 general categories of microorganisms of interest to food handlers: viruses, molds, yeasts, and bacteria. Bacteria are most dangerous because we can't see or smell them, and they multiply rapidly. There are 4 basic conditions that bacteria need to grow or multiply. These are food, temperature, time, and moisture. The temperature danger zone is that temperature when bacteria grows at its fastest rate. It is anything between 5 and 60 degrees Celsius.